call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Sandra Gilliard.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was so good, Brantley. The invocation will be led by Reverend Eddie Stiff.
I thought he said invisible.
Let's bow our heads. Father, we just thank you for this opportunity that we can gather together and put the future of our children in this community before us. Yes. Father, I pray that you would empower those that you have assembled to lead this community, to lead our children into tomorrow. Father, I pray that you give them wisdom as they lead. And Father, today we lift up Lennon Harvey as he is recovering. Father, we just pray for healing in his body today in the name of Jesus. And Father, we declare that 2017 and 2018 school year is going to be the best school year that Putnam County has seen ever. Father, we thank you that you're going to empower the students to learn, empower the students to dream, and empower the students to lead our community into tomorrow. We thank you, we praise you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful. Amen.
At this time, I would like to call Coach Amanda Burney up to the podium to make a presentation.
Hey, Coach.
Usually my partner in crime's here with me, but he's in Panama City visiting his parents.
She's talking about Lucas Bennett.
So I'll talk today. Center Shot Ministries is a non-denominational outreach program that shares Christian principles using the life skill of archery. In May, when our archery teams from Jenkins and Palatka High School went to nationals in Kentucky, we were invited to participate in the Center Shot tournament that was also happening at that time. And so some of our members of our team competed, and we found out after the fact, because we didn't stay for the award ceremony, we came on back home, that Gavin Manzo, one of our Palatka High School members of our team, scored a 296, making him the second place boy overall for the tournament out of 320 boys.
Wow. Awesome.
They sent him this huge, heavy trophy and a plaque.
They mailed all that?
A plaque. And he also won a bow. So,
Boat?
a bow.
It's an archery tournament.
I know his grandmother would be happy about that.
Awesome.
And he did so well because I rode in the car with him and encouraged him to shoot well on the way there.
And
everything else.
Yes.
Okay.
that is awesome.
Congratulations, Gavin. Thank you for all your hard work in training these students, Coach Bernie.
Thank you, Coach Bernie.
We'll have public comments now. I'd like to remind everyone that, am I waiting on another one, Travis? Okay, you can bring it up. I'd like to remind everyone that you were to come up to the podium, speak directly into the microphone facing the board, and you each have 3 minutes to speak. The board secretary, Sharon Cormany, will put the 3 minutes up on the timer on the screen, so you will have, you'll be aware of what your timing is. And I'm going to start with Doris.
Okay, thanks.
How you doing, Ms. Wilson? Good to see you.
That's what she told me. I understand. That's what I understand.
How are you? Thank you.
So it takes getting you. I knew it, Gary. Thank you.
We're a couple.
Always great to see Gary.
My name is Doris Nielsen, 6108 Fourth Manor West, Palatka, Florida. Good afternoon, Superintendent and board members. Thank you for allowing me to address the issue of the recent 471% increase in the retirees' life insurance premium with Unum Life Insurance Company. As a benefit to the retiree, the district allows an employee to carry 1 times their salary up to $20,000 life insurance under the group life plan. 749 retirees from 1996 to 2017 chose this benefit. The cost has been based on active group rates. The retirees were recently notified, and we were taken out of the active group rate pool and placed in a new group rate pool. And on June 13th, this board approved a 471% rate increase to the 749 retirees and a 52% rate reduction to the employees of the district. Retirees will now pay $480 a year instead of the $84 a year that we were previously paying, and the district will save $122,106 over the next 3 years to be placed in the insurance fund. Okay, please understand, I'm not immune to the fact that insurance premiums increase. I just ask that it be fair to everyone. 471% increase for one group and 52% decrease for another group is not fair. And we were in the same group up until this year. Gary and I have paid a total of $168 a year. Next year, because we both have the insurance, next year we will be asked to pay a total of $960 a year. And that's for the same amount of coverage, $20,000 apiece. In closing, 4 out of 5 board members, when contacted, did not know they had approved the insurance committee's proposal. Therefore, I would ask the board to return the 2017-2018 Unum life insurance rates to the insurance committee for a more favorable outcome for the retirees. I would ask the board to have their board attorney interpret Florida statutes 112.0801 entitled Group Insurance Participation by the Retired Employees, making sure that what you approved was just and right. I just want that checked. And perhaps, and just perhaps, the 749 retirees from 1996 to 2017 should be grandfathered into the active group rate pool from which we were removed. To quote our superintendent,
Are you bringing it to a close?
oh, yes, right now.
Okay.
To quote our superintendent, I think it's important those in power hear from those of us who it really affects.
Thank you, Doris.
Thank you, Doris.
Next is Arlene Marchese.
Good afternoon, Superintendent and Board. My name is Arlene Marchese. I reside at 7300 Krill Avenue, number 52, here in Palatka. I just wanted to register my concern and my disappointment, as one very good friend said, sort of a reverse Robin Hood. In other words, the retirees are subsidizing the insurance for the working people. And that does concern me. Also, the statute, I read that statute, and I question if we are in compliance with that. I would like that reviewed. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Robert Emery.
Hello, Robert.
Rob. Yes, I'm Robert Emery, if you don't
Okay,
know.
what's up,
And, I live at 130 Tessa Terrace in Palatka. Emery spelled E-M-E-R-Y, okay. I don't want to repeat anything. I know everyone, it's very formal to stand here and see people that I've known for years and years. And it's like, what can you do for us? We've paid this, we kind of expected it. I know that the county surprised y'all this summer. They were gonna cut out some funds and things that they'd always given to you. And it was like, you know, where's this coming from? You know, the legality is not really the problem. It's like, you know, let us know ahead of time. You know, let us know ahead of time, and we can make some, you know, some changes to it and so forth. You know, a little, you know, I know it's hard to insure old people, okay, and things like that. Insurance companies don't want to do it, but you know, it's like, you know, maybe we could cut back on some of the payout and raise the rates a little bit or something, you know, and just have some, you know, some notice, you know, a year or two or something to kind of adjust to it and get things straight. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Before we go on to our next public comment, I'd like to call Rhonda Odom up. And if you will explain to the group how this came about.
Okay. First off, since this is something new, and I saw the article in the paper about Florida statute 1112.0801, I'd just like to say for once, and of course I will defer to Mr. Douglas, but we are not violating that statute. When you read the statute, it is about group insurance, but it clearly says that retiree and their eligible dependents shall be offered the same health and hospitalization insurance coverage. It does not mention life insurance at all. And I will say that when this all came about, that we do have an insurance committee that meets. When we went out for bids to get new quotes for life insurance, it came back and the district was going to have a very high percentage increase cost on the portions that we pay. We do not pay any toward the retiree life insurance. The district pays toward the employees. And we were going to have a 52% rate increase if we kept everybody in the same plan. So the insurance committee looked at different options, and y'all were provided 4 pages, I think, that showed the different companies. And MetLife, who we've been with for several years, also put their plan before us, and they were the ones that had a 52% rate increase if we left things as they were. It was going to cost the district another, for your board share, to pay for the life insurance for the employees, one time up to $50,000, one time your salary up to $50,000. It was going to cost you an additional $122,106 out of general fund money. The committee of 8 looked at all the different options, and the best option at the time seemed to be Unum option 2, which would actually save that money for the district. And yes, there was an increase in the retiree rate. They needed to pull it apart. The article in the paper said that they no longer had insurance with the Putnam County School District. They do. It's just a different carrier. We went from MetLife to Unum. You still have insurance with the district. If you have a claim, Tammy Collins in my office will still be the one that handles the claim. We did get another company involved only because they were able to accept monthly payments, and they could even have it taken from the state of Florida retirement. So that's why the other company is also involved, because as you can imagine, if you had 400 and something retirees coming into our office on a monthly basis writing individual receipts, because we didn't figure many of them would be able to pay $480 at one time. Where before we had a lot of people that came in and paid for the whole year, the $84. We still had some that paid monthly, but we knew this would increase the amount of monthly payments, and that's why we sought the additional company to handle the payments. The insurance is still with Putnam County School District. The claims will still be paid by Putnam County School District. There is an increase in cost. When we had one of our board workshops, and I passed this out the other day to all of you, we discussed this as one of the cost-saving measures because it would save the district $122,000 in general funds, and I said it would be coming at a future meeting. And on the meeting on June 20th, not June 13th, but June 20th, I put all I do is I'm a spokesperson for the insurance committee. There's a committee. They make recommendations that it is my job to bring before the board. And I put the insurance committee's recommendations to you, and you can vote on it one way or the other. On June 12th, I wrote a memo and asked for the approval of the insurance life rates for 2017. The memo stated, I'll read it. The Insurance Committee of the district met on May 22nd and examined bids from several companies for the renewed options for basic retiree, voluntary life, and AD&D insurance. With our current company, MetLife, we were looking at a 56% rate increase. So even the retirees would have had that, but you would have had the rate increase of all the active employees. The committee asked that I present the following recommendations to the school board for approval. Number 1, choose Unum Option 2, which will reduce employee life to .203 per thousand, 52% reduction with a 3-year rate guarantee, thus saving the district $122,106 annually on the board share contribution. This will increase the retiree rate from $84 a year to $480 a year for $20,000 of coverage. Number 2, set aside this savings, $122,106, into the insurance fund to help offset future insurance costs or to start other programs, i.e. health clinics, self-insurance, etc. Number 3, turn the Wellness Initiative project funded by donations from Blue Cross Blue Shield for a wellness initiative over to the Insurance Committee for determination of how to best spend the funds. The proposed rates for all companies are attached. The employee retiree rates will go into effect on July 1, 2017. Your approval of the 2017 Unum Option 2 proposal, as well as all other recommendations of the Insurance Committee, is requested. That was presented. There was a motion to approve by Nikki Cummins, a second by Ms. Gilliard, and all 5 members, Ms. Jorgensen was not here, so the 4 present all voted yes to approve all of these recommendations. So that's how we came to this point. At this late date, the rates are already in effect. If you were to go back to MetLife, I don't even know if we could. If you want to speak up?
Paul, would you like
know.
to say something?
It's entirely up
Ms.
to
Jorgensen
you.
Ron,
does.
I will
I have
say
a
that
couple
Tammy Collins
questions.
has had several retirees come back to her. They went out and tried to find it on their own, and they said this is a very good rate. They could not match it anywhere at the, I understand it's an increased rate. I understand that, and I'm going to be in that pool very shortly. It's going to affect all of us. It's going to affect me and my pocketbook also. We certainly want what's best for everyone, but this was a recommendation that was made. We had bids received from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I passed out
6, 7.
I passed
Yeah.
out some of this information
And all this was passed out at the
to the
workshop
board,
the other
to the
day.
board members, and if Kathy, you could let Kathy ask her questions, and
Yes.
maybe I'd like to ask a couple.
Okay.
How many retirees avail themselves of this insurance? About 400 and something, you said?
Well, we had, we,
No, that's
we
how
have-
many since 96 have done so.
well, we
but how-
we currently have, I'm sorry, I wish Tammy Collins was in here. I asked her to attend, but I don't see her. I show that we have 711 retirees. Does that sound about right, that are on it? Okay. This was some numbers that I got at the time that
Retirees.
we were having this meeting, 711. So apparently, you know, we've had some more retire since I got these numbers. So 700 and something people.
But do they all take this insurance?
I couldn't answer that. I don't know.
We don't know
think she
how
went
many
to get-
retirees
I think
take
Debbie
life
went to get
insurance.
Well, I asked her to be
Okay,
here, so.
my other question, well, not question, but I want to make a statement. What we approved here, it's not going in the general fund. It's going into that insurance fund that the insurance
it's
committee,
general funds,
who made this
yes.
bad decision, sorry, or recommendation, because I don't know, unless Nikki is willing to take it off the floor so we can vote on it again. She made the motion, I believe. She's the one that has to,
Or anyone who voted in favor of it.
so any of
Well,
you
if
four,
anybody who voted in favor, you know, I'd
to reconsider, but.
get with your question.
I mean, it's not even going in the
reconsider.
general fund if it goes in the insurance fund and they can,
And y'all, that was an option. Y'all, you voted for that, but I don't know that at this late date whether we can get these rates or whether we can make changes. This
well,
went
but we
into
can let
effect.
the 122 stay in to offset the cost of that, instead of putting in the insurance fund. We could take that one, we could vote to say, instead of taking 122,000 from the retirees and putting it in the insurance fund, we can use that to
And
offset the
just,
retirees'
and I do
life
want to say that
insurance.
we didn't take anything from the retirees.
Well, I understand
Yeah,
what you're
we know
saying.
that, we know.
And, all right, thank you. And ever what y'all want to do, that's fine with me, but I wanted to get you to where you are today because it was all laid out more than, you know, it was laid out twice, and it was voted on, and everybody approved it, so.
Well, my,
Twice, I know.
go ahead. My question with Kathy, along with Kathy's is, when I voted on this, I was kind of looking at the bigger picture, and this was just one
snippet of the whole thing, and I talked to, I guess, Peanut Nielsen about it, and yeah, Tammy can come on up. But I know in '96, you know, I was in running things for a while, you know, for about 12 years, and we started to try to find ways to keep employees here and try to find ways to have incentives in years when there weren't adequate salary increases, and this was part of the package. So I have to say I do feel very sympathetic and empathetic with what Kathy said, and I would like to find a way to either override this or come in with a gradual increase over time, and either lessen the total amount or do something, make it a little more palatable to everyone, because I'm like you, Kathy, I mean, we're all in the same boat. We're all going to be drawing the same, you know, life insurance if we choose to, you know.
Right. And I wanted to ask, on the insurance committee, does your policy say that no retiree could serve on it? Or is that a possibility that in the future, maybe one of the retirees can be a part of the board so that everybody is represented pretty much at the table?
There's not.
I'm just
We've always
asking.
had a huge insurance committee that was 30-something people or more.
One from each school.
One from each school, and 2 or 3 years, it felt like it was really hard to get things done, so they narrowed it down to an 8-person committee, 4 chosen by the superintendent and 4 chosen from the union side to work together. The others could attend the meetings, they were just not voting members, so their input was certainly allowed. And we still do have additional people attend those meetings when we have them, when we have the big meetings that have, you know, something on the agenda to be voted on and everything. I think the makeup of that committee is changing. Debbie, I'm not sure exactly what that MOU says. Does it say?
It's staying the same, it just, in the past, it had 8 union members and the superintendent didn't have.
Yeah, the superintendent chose 4 union members. It was still, the superintendent chose them. It was 4 chosen by the superintendent, is that correct, Mark? And 4 chosen by,
Tammy,
yeah.
I wonder why we've got Tammy here. Maybe she can tell us how many avail themselves of the life insurance.
Every one of them.
Every-
Everyone in that numbers.
Wow.
749, okay. It changes some, but we've got 749 retirees that have that
That's a lot of people.
$20,000 worth of insurance.
We definitely invite, I'm sorry, I said we invite retirees or anyone to come to the insurance committee meetings.
Okay.
to
They
give
are,
them-
they have been
Absolutely.
public noticed, have they not?
have.
Yeah.
They're public noticed.
Yeah.
Because
So
they're a
anyone
committee
is-
of the board, yeah.
I'm sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
But I do want to go back to that statute. We're not violating the statute on anything that's being done at the current time, so.
I took 122,000 even and divided by 750 even, and it's about $163 a retiree that we could, if that's what we said we wanted to do, we could put, it would be 163 off the 480. Which is something, and it's,
Either that or send it back to the insurance committee to come up with something more palatable.
We did use
I
a
don't-
portion of
Is
that
there
to hire the
anything more
company, so all of
palatable?
that's not available unless we pulled it from elsewhere.
What if they
But
lost
it's
10,000
entirely up to
instead
the
of
board on how we
20,000? It'd be
proceed.
different.
Oh, to hire Unum?
No, not our Unum, to the FBMC that came to the next, because again, they were able to offer monthly payments and to
Right.
also take it from
We're-
Florida
we
Retirement
got this,
System, is that
you know,
correct?
option 2.
They doing ACH? So
Yeah, they do,
FBMSC, yeah.
they're able to
that's-
do things that we're not able to do. They can do ACHs into the retirees' checking account. We can't do that as a district. It just
Right.
streamlined things quite a bit, and they're part of the the consortium, and we were already using them for other things. so
Right, because these
seemed
are
like
all
a
the
good fit.
NEFAC employees also, not just
Yes.
our, yeah, so it includes all the NEFAC retirees.
all right.
Somebody needs to make
I make a motion that we open it up for discussion to look at how we might rectify this problem to assist the retirees in making this a little more affordable.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion's passed.
Did you have any other comments regarding this situation at all?
Did
Any
I?
other- Any other public comments?
Does anybody else?
No, I'm talking about public comments.
Oh, yeah, well, not this situation.
Okay, that's
But
what
I
I'm-
got another one.
Okay, I understand.
Along with
Two
that,
more.
during that, motion, June 20th, that also included a wellness
portion of the insurance committee's recommendation. I feel that needs to be readdressed too. If we're gonna readdress this, there was some confusion on that, and I don't think, if we're gonna go there, we need to, the whole motion that had the other, recommendation by the insurance committee with the wellness.
Well, I think you should make a motion to
So,
that.
but I mean, I don't know, if you just ask for a motion to open it up to what we voted on before, I don't know if that will be included.
We're talking about life insurance for
Life
retirees.
insurance for retirees, I rectify
But
the
if you're
situation.
if you're asking that whole motion to be re-brought up.
No, but it was the consent agenda anyway, so it's not,
Well, it was, no, but it was under the same item. You know, it was under.
I know what you're saying, but we're just bringing up the life insurance for
Okay.
retirees, yes.
Okay.
What do you
Let's say three different.
I just don't know if it has to be a separate motion. The wellness, basically the insurance.
We're concerned with the
made-
insurance for the retirees, this. This, 1 and 2.
But it was one
3
item.
isn't about, yeah, there was 1, 2, and 3, and 1 and 2 were about the retirees, 3 was the wellness.
Okay, so
that
it
you're
was
saying. So
it
separate
doesn't have to.
consent agenda items? or
No,
was
they
it-
were all under that, 1, 2,
Right.
and 3.
So you wanna, take that portion out and reconsider that as well?
Right.
The wellness program?
Yeah.
She's
You
just
want me to-
concerned that if we're taking this out to vote on, that we're, she wants to make sure this gets
You want me to
voted in.
readjust my motion?
No, I don't. I want to re-discuss it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It
All
needs to
right.
be, it needs to be brought up along with the other motions. So
As-
I don't know if it has to be done
Well, why
separate.
don't you make a motion, because as the insurance committee looks at how to make this more palatable for our retirees, whether it's to do everything Kathy said or some alternative, then we can do this at
There's
the same
money
time.
attached with that, so it's gonna all have to be discussed together, so I make a motion to readdress the wellness committee recommendation made by the insurance committee.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, anything else about insurance before we move on? Okay, next we have June Thompson.
Him would be veto.
Vito Russo, please come up.
I'll be quiet, Pam, sorry. I'm getting used to veto.
Should I have Scott come up after them?
Give me just a moment to drink water.
Sure.
That's right, what he wants me to do.
Would you rather Scott come up during this public comment portion or at the end?
That'd be good since you're on the topic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, the real estate agent showed me how.
Good afternoon. Thank you
Afternoon.
for giving me some of your time. My
3
name
minutes.
Yes, 3 minutes, right. Okay, I'm going to try my best. My name is Vito Russo. I live at 415 Emmett Street in the Historic District. A few weeks ago, Rick was kind enough to make some time in his busy day to meet with me, and we discussed the idea of a cultural arts center, converting the Campbell Building into a cultural arts center. He asked me to develop the idea a little bit further and come to this meeting a few weeks later. So here I am. So I've been really busy. I got a 40-hour-week job, and I've got restore my old house and blah, blah, blah. But I was able to make some time for this research. And I have some significant information for the school board. So bear with me. So the first idea I want to convey to the school board is that the South Historic Neighborhood Association is taking this very seriously, as I'm sure you're all well aware, with our emails and links and everything else. This is not some fly-by-night operation. We are going to have, if this can be manifested, this vision that we have be manifested of creating a cultural arts center in a district in the South Side, we are going to have our fingers on the pulse of every aspect of this project. So this is not a fly-by-night operation. We are deadly serious. So we started off to convey this idea to the school board by developing a mission statement and a vision statement for this organization. So I'd just like to read them very quickly. The mission statement: the Cultural Arts Center is to be a creative force and educational resource for the community by harnessing the economic vitality of the arts. Now, we frame this statement in a way to emphasize the economic impact that the arts have, and I'm going to get into that in just a moment. The vision statement: the Cultural Arts Center is to be a regionally recognized collaboration between the visual and the performing arts and education, transforming the social culture of our community. Now, this statement was framed in a way to convey the need that we desperately have, to change the culture of our community in order to address the blight that we suffer from. So that's one of the main messages I want to convey, and that is that if we're gonna effectively fight the blight, we've got to transform the culture of our community, and we can only do that. We can only do that through the arts and through education. That's the only way it's going to happen. So this is something that all of you are in prime position to do. You're the experts at the education, and you have good influence on the arts. So we're hoping that we can get you to buy into this idea that we're trying to manifest. So during my research, I found a number of communities that are doing just what we're advocating. And let me just give you one prime example that's much like our town. It's Monmouth, Illinois. It's a town like ours. It's about 10,000 people. It's a 10,000 person town. It's in a farming region of Illinois. It's surrounded by smaller towns. It established the Buchanan Arts Center to jumpstart its economic revitalization of its historic district. And one of the concrete ways I want to convey to you about how such a cultural arts center can revitalize a local economy is that they have what they call their Town and Country Show.
Vito,
Yes.
I mean, I want to hear what he has to say, but do we need to do it in the form of a presentation at a later date, or?
If you give me another 3 minutes, I'll be done.
It's up to you. It's just public comment. It's up to you.
Okay. Is it okay with
It's
the
not a
rest?
presentation,
Pleasure of the
it's public
board?
I'm not going to get into any.
I'm used to him now. I kind of like him.
Then we
Okay,
need to make sure
three
that
more
we
minutes.
extend that.
I appreciate your
to everyone
indulgence.
else.
I do appreciate.
Yeah, if y'all wanna come back,
Superintendent.
Okay, so anyway, this Town and Country Show, as an example of what this art cultural center is doing for its local economy, is it has a show where 600 or 700 pieces of art that are produced by the students over the course of the year are exhibited. Now, this is something that the kids are thrilled about. This brings in all the families of all the kids from the surrounding area into Mammoth, and obviously that naturally boosts the local economy. So the point is that we're not inventing the wheel here. We're just going to use what other communities have already established as a means to address our community. So in the midst of all this research that I was able to do, the most important thing I want to convey to you is that when I contacted the state of Florida's Division of Cultural Affairs, I spoke with the grants program manager, and I had a great conversation with her. And if you call her, she's definitely going to remember me, because I was very enthusiastic, and I was really excited about what she had to say. The Division of Cultural Arts, this is the grants program manager. She conveyed to me that this unique building that we have, there's only 2 or 3 in the entire state. This would be considered by that division a benchmark project for the entire state, and it'd be eligible for a $500,000 grant. A $500,000 grant. That is a turnkey number. That means that building would be completely renovated to do everything that we would like to see it do as a cultural arts center / museum. So, I mean, it would be art space for talented artists to live and work. It'd be a facility for the visual and the performing arts, the culinary arts. It's got a cafeteria in it, space for an art gallery, space for a museum, for our fixed exhibits, plus the traveling exhibits. And one example of that is the Museum of Florida History is currently traveling an exhibit called the Florida Before Statehood. And that would be something that we could host. So, let me just say one thing about this Arts and Prosperity Report. It's a comprehensive nationwide study quantifying the economic impact of the arts on these communities. And for Florida, this is 2017, for Florida, it said that the impact of the arts is $4.7 billion, created 132,000 jobs, 3.4 billion household income, and over $500 million in local and state revenue. So, I just wish I had just a slight bit more time. I would love to
We'll
read
have to
you
call it to a
couple of
vote.
these quotes, but
Have to call it to a
but
close.
just let me close then with saying that the economic impact of that building becoming a cultural arts center far surpasses the idea of letting it become Synergy Billing Medical. There's no comparison. I mean,
Thank you.
so.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Can I comment?
Yeah.
Please. $500,000 sounds like a lot of money, but Tom Townsend, when he was superintendent, put 8-something, didn't he, into the Campbell building?
800,000.
Yes, $800-something thousand. I don't know. Do you remember, John Chastain, how much it was? It was over $500,000. It was either 6-something or 8-something.
Before him, we put hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, I
bring it
know.
up to
Oh, I know.
historic
So 500,000.
Sounds like a lot,
Personally,
but it's not.
sounds like a lot of money, but for that building in that condition, I don't know that it is. Just devil's advocate. I'm not against the idea by any means. However, don't fool yourselves. 500,000 isn't going to make that whole building habitable.
Also, I did want to reiterate to the public that we did all receive an email from Mr. Russo concerning this plan, and I asked a couple questions, and he did get back to me, and I know probably didn't have a chance, but the Larimer Center, I said, are they supportive? This seems like great direct competition with the Larimer Center, and there's a couple other things to consider. When is the grant due? When do they find out if they even would receive it? So I would encourage the board members, if we do have questions about, I know you feel like you had to get it in 3 minutes, but we had all the information in the email, so I did want to.
go to the link and.
We
can
And I
go
met
back to
with-
that and ask
And I know you
questions
met
we
with
I
have.
met with Mr. Russo also.
Right, so-
He explained it to me also.
Right.
And I encouraged him to come and make a comment.
Right.
Not a presentation, but a comment.
Right,
And I
I
think
would-
you had
June?
another person to present.
Used to be June Robard.
Yes. Imelda's sister. Imelda's sister.
I'm June Thompson, and I live at 617 Emmett Street here in Palatka. Well, you already know what I'm up here for, because I am so behind the Cultural Arts Center and Natural History Museum is what it would be called. And all the opportunities that would give to us to bring people into our community. Anyway, we have a bunch of, or a lot of things that are being held by the University of Florida that belong to us, and they're waiting until we have a place to give it back to us. I mean, we've never even seen it. I'd like to go over there and see it, but anyway, we could have that there. But I wanted to ask if there's a possibility that we could have maybe a tour or an open house of the school, so that we could see if we could get some major players involved in this. Would that be a possibility? I would love to see the
Something we'd
school.
have
I
to
went to
discuss.
school there
A
whenever
real
I was
estate
growing
agent.
up. and I
Real
know there's
estate
like-
We have a
Real
broker.
estate agents would do it.
Oh, could we have though like an event where we would have like an open house and a tour?
Well,
we
I'm
have-
gonna defer that to our broker, and as a matter of fact, when you get through
Okay.
talking, I'm gonna ask our broker to come up and comment, or
Okay.
bring the board up to date, if that's okay with you.
Certainly.
But that's something that we
Okay,
would.
well, I meant to call, I've been kind of like in a whirlwind too. I had intended to call him and suggest that to him, but I had not. But anyway, I wanted to see if that was a possibility, because that would give everyone an opportunity to see the building again. I think that would be great, to maybe get some coverage on television or radio or different things like that to talk about that, it's available. This is what we'd like to use it for. If you have better ideas, present them. Anyway, get more people involved. I also wanted to mention, Nikki, about the Larimer Arts Center.
Yeah.
I used to be the executive director for the Arts Council.
Uh-huh.
And they are the umbrella organization for the arts. They promote the arts. So
Okay.
I have not talked with the present director.
Okay.
But executive director, but I based on what was going on at the time, this would be a wonderful happening.
Okay.
And also, I have not talked with the people at the college, but I did put a call in out there. Haven't talked with them yet, but I think that they also would maybe like to use the space for some classes here and for adult classes also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
Okay, now that.
Mr. Harder,
Yeah,
Scott Harder,
Harder, if you would come up.
and Mr. Galway's out of town, so I've asked Mr. Harder to come from Coldwell Banker to update our board.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Harder. I'm one of the team members with Coldwell Banker Commercial Benchmark. I was asked to update the board here on my showing this afternoon. I had a showing from a qualified individual. Is currently an investor. They are currently working on several projects in the area. He happens to own property in Palatka. They're building a motel as we speak in St. Augustine. He's expressed an interest in the building, and it's mainly because it's a very sound building and he likes the area. He is not interested in turning it into a motel, but he does several different types of projects. He has two partners, and his two partners do the exact opposite of what he does. So what he has in mind is a straight purchase, and then once he finishes the large motel that he's currently working on, he would come back to this building and then decide how to handle it. Like I said, he owns property here in Palatka. He knows Palatka. He likes Palatka. So he wants to invest in Palatka. So I should know something hopefully next week.
Anyone have any questions?
How's, and when he talks about a straight purchase, any idea?
I do not know his thought process on the
Well, we're
process.
asking for
But he did
475.
say he is a cash buyer.
And recall, we lowered the price to $595.
Correct.
So that's the new listing price.
$595.
Right.
Well, and I know that if this doesn't work out, the superintendent's got a variety of ideas that he's been tossing over. So, you know, the 8-ball has been put in motion for the superintendent and the board with the law change on having ancillary space available. So we're going to have to really get our ducks in a row. And with school starting, it couldn't be a worse time for Rick and his staff to try to figure this out for the board to give us recommendations. So, but I appreciate that. That's good news anyway.
Thank you.
And who wouldn't like the cultural arts idea? But we talked about years ago that becoming eventually a museum, but then the Koch brothers put the River Center in, and now and then you've got the arts here in town. I don't know how many arts buildings you could have that would be filled up with arts projects, but that's something to look at. Certainly, there are grant opportunities not only for the arts, but there are grant opportunities for other things that Rick and I have discussed. So I know he's working on it, and I feel comfortable with where you guys are trying to do for us.
I want to thank Mr. Harder for driving up to update us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to the consent agenda. I'll start with you, Ms. Gilliard. Do you have anything you would like to pull?
I know we have a 5:05 meeting, but I got stuff. I'll try and be quick.
You said Eunice Gilliard, and I'm waiting for somebody to come. You said Eunice Gilliard.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh,
Eunice.
Did you want to pull anything?
Yes. She's looking.
I have it here.
Oh, okay.
Just for clarification, G8 and 9.
G8 and 9?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just for, have a few questions.
Is that all? Mr. Buckles?
I've been in a day ago, and I've been in all morning, so I'm good.
Okay. Ms. Cummings?
D3, and then I had G8 and 9 too.
Okay, I've been back and forth with several people all week and got my questions answered, so, Ms. Jorgensen?
I'm good, and I'll prepare to make a motion.
Okay.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda minus items D3, G8, and G9.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is passed. Okay.
D3, and I did talk to Mr. Douglas about this a little bit. It's the invoice for our school board attorney. And basically, every bill on that from June 21st to June 29th was with G.G. Galloway. So I kind of was going back and forth of whether that's a retainer item or something that could be billed individually. Mr. Douglas said he would mind if I asked to table it, but I feel like if the school board doesn't make some type of boundary to where we work with the broker, because to me, when you hire a broker, there's not necessarily a separate attorney necessarily when they do the contracts. I just feel like if we don't clarify now that it's only going to get worse as far as the billing, as far as the compounding of, and I guess it's just something that where I feel like the board has to be aware that every time we say we ask Mr. Galloway to do something or we ask Mr. Douglas to do anything, but if Mr. Galloway's working for us, the contract and I don't know, maybe, I mean,
I don't think it's the same relationship. I think our board attorney is really covering us. And no offense if he's still here, but a real estate agent's a real estate agent.
Okay, well, that's just kind of what I
That wants to sell the building
Yeah.
and get a commission.
And I understand the economic sensitivities. We were heavily involved on the front end with this particular purchaser due to the nature of the offer that they had sent in with the in-kind portion of their offer. So we were heavily involved. I don't mind, I'm taking more of a backseat and letting the realtors and the brokers get together and have something that's ironed out in more detail, and then we can step in and evaluate it and then chime in with edits, additions,
Right.
subtractions. That's fine. I understand where you're coming from, which is, hey, we got to save the district as much as we can, and I'm certainly sensitive to that, and we want to do what's in the best interest of the district. So
I guess it's who's driving the vehicle. I don't want you having to go initiate phone calls, do this, do that. I feel like that's the broker. The broker brings you the contract to review. And at this point, all of these conversations and emails and conferences have been more you having to deal with Jim. And I just feel like
The broker wasn't involved.
Right, and so I mean, not that it's a negative, it's just something that I feel like should be clarified, or because if we are moving forward with this and any kind of in-kind donations, I keep saying they were the ones that were responsible for bringing the contract and the details, and then we ask you to look at it. We don't want you to have to create everything because that's a lot of time and money. So that was where I felt like if I can't talk to my board members, so that's why I wanted to bring it up here to kind of get a feel for what everybody else thinks about that.
Well, we had a instructional division come to us that were working on some human resources stuff recently, a few meetings ago, and they wanted to bring in an outside attorney that was a specialist, and you said let Hedstrom and Douglas do it, and it's these are guys were just one phone call away, and then you get it to where they have to sit down and use their attorneys to sit down and answer employee questions about contracts. So it's nothing against what you're saying here, but I think, Charlie, if the board has a concern, we're going to bring it to the superintendent and we're going to get it addressed. I so far feel pretty good, but I mean that really caused their firm to have to get involved and spend time doing things that we could have just asked 2 or 3 questions of an attorney that was on contract, and we wouldn't have had to pay him. So I don't know. Sometimes we don't articulate what we really want them to do.
That's true. That's
And
kind
if
of
it's
what
a contract, I think our contract would be pretty clear on what Charlie already has, and he's probably following.
Right, and he did reiterate, because I said, is this something that I can't find it in my phone? You had mentioned, what's included with the retainer and what's not included, but all the back and forth. It's an in-kind donation, so that's kind of a gray area because we've never had to address it before. But I just kind of, again, felt like if you're the one having to put everything on in writing and initialize all the documents, then that wasn't really the intent. I feel like that was something, even in our last meeting, we asked Mr. Galloway and Mr. Spalding were going to kind of come up together with a plan.
Yeah, that was the plan from the very beginning.
Yeah, and so now it's you having to intercede or be the middleman, and I'm like, I don't feel that's necessary at this point.
And I don't believe that we are the middleman. And Mr. Galloway suggested that Synergy, that particular purchaser, come back to the board with
Right.
whatever offer that they wanted, because there was a risk that if we came back with the offer, it would set the price for every other potential purchaser.
Right.
And so that's not what we did. That's not what
Right.
our intent is.
Yeah.
I think it was just a unique situation with this particular purchaser and based on the nature of that contract. But moving forward, it would be my expectation that the brokers would communicate among themselves, develop a near final contract
Okay.
that they could present to us
Yeah, I'm
on
not
the
trying to.
5-yard line to
Right.
say, is there anything else that we need to do
Okay.
on this? And we would make our final comments and then
Right, and that's kind of what I felt the process, but then if,
I'm not
again-
trying to bail Charlie out, but, I mean, this is a unique situation, just like you said.
Right,
It's
it
gonna
is.
have to, it's gonna be fluid. We've looked at a variety of options from matching donations and different things for this contract. He's gonna have to watch it every step of the way, so.
But again, he shouldn't be creating the documents. He should be looking at the final product and then letting us make revisions and edits. I don't feel like you
that's
should.
our intention too.
Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify then.
We've asked the brokers to try to come back to the board by mid-month, by the next meeting.
Right.
With an offer if that's possible.
Okay.
And, you know, we could definitely have Charlie review that at that time.
Yeah, that's good. That's okay. That's all I wanted to kind of.
Good, okay.
And we're staying in contact with Mr. Galloway. I've talked to him at least on a weekly basis, so
Yeah.
we're staying up on things.
Okay.
So you're ready to make a motion to approve D3?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve D3.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
I've asked Ms. Decubellis to come. Ms. France is not here today. I've asked Ms. Decubellis to fill in and answer your questions about 8 and 9.
Stole your coconut if you want one.
Oh, that's the one. No, I like that pecan one.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Performance Matters contract, the cost, the 84,000.
Yes, ma'am,
That's-
it is
Go
an
ahead.
increase from the past, and what this is to get us onto the correct fiscal cycle. In the past, the contract has ended in April,
Okay.
which is a problem for us. That doesn't get us through the end of the year. This will take us to take us from April till the end of June of 18. So this will allow us to get into that cycle and make sure that we can budget correctly. This product, if you want any information, we do use it at all schools.
Okay.
It houses our assessment data. And with that data, we also run all of our progress monitoring for science, grades 3 through 8, biology, civics, U.S. history, language arts for 9th and 10th grade, algebra 1, and geometry.
Okay.
It is integral in what we do. And
Is
I
it
have
used by teachers or administrators?
both.
And how do you know that teachers are using it the way they're supposed to be using it?
Well, I don't know that we can answer the question of that all teachers are using it the way that they should be using it, but
Well, or that they're using it.
right, and I'm going to let Julie Carter talk to you about a specific situation that she's been working on recently. I'm pulling some trend data.
One quick question, is this something, I know we've used Performance Matters and iReady. Are you planning on renewing iReady also?
Yes, ma'am. iReady data is stored within this platform.
Okay.
But we do not do the assessments that iReady provides for us with Performance Matters. It just houses the data. It does not have that piece at this time to be able to do what we do with iReady.
Okay.
I'm going to let
I
Julie
was-
answer a question
okay.
specifically on how she's been
Don't
pulling
forget,
some
Sandy,
data.
what you want.
The general
iReady is
funds,
the
that's what
diagnostic tool and progress monitoring tool that we use. But one of the things that we can do with Performance Matters is we can use it to determine trends. For example, in ELA, there's 4 clusters, and it's helpful to be able to analyze the data to determine what clusters we are struggling with. So we often coaches work with teachers in taking a look at the Performance Matters and determining which one of those clusters that they seem to be scoring the lowest in, and then that informs instruction. And actually this week I've had a couple of schools that have contacted me and asked me if I would help them do that so that they can tell the teachers at pre-planning, this is the area that we really need to focus in. And without Performance Matters, it would be difficult to do that quickly.
Do you
So-
happen to know the usage, and can you tell how many teachers log on and use the product?
I'm not sure about that. Yeah, but I'm not sure if I'm sure there's a way to do that, but I know, for certain that all of the coaches use the product as they're working with teachers.
But
So-
haven't we cut most of the coaches back? So
Well,
there's
we have
only
a lot of, we still have coaches that are operating, and in
Right.
fact, most schools have a coach either assigned to them or one that's actually on staff now.
We have district coaches, and some schools chose to keep
Okay.
the coach as part of their allocations.
And my major concern was, are we getting a bang for the buck, 84,000? And it said it came out of, well, it's going to come out of the general funds.
Yes, ma'am, in the beginning, it
And,
came out
and
of
that
TIF.
was a concern that we've been battling and working on this entire school year, past school year, looking at the general budget. I don't have a problem with it if we're utilizing it. I really don't. If the teachers and the administration are looking at the data, determining the trends, inviting someone to come in, the coaches to assist with making sure we're getting this staff development, like I saw that NEFAC is offering everywhere. So we need to make sure that we're monitoring that part of it.
And also, it's the
'Cause it's a
only
lot of
vehicle that
money.
we have to do these assessments that Ms. Decabella shared, like as far as science progress monitoring. It's the only vehicle that we have for that. 9th and 10th grade ELA. We have a fair assessment from the state, but that gives you a very general monitoring. And for us to get more specific monitoring, to say, around December, we need to really focus in on craft and structure. We need a finer instrument, and this allows that to take place. So that list of assessments that she read would be really difficult to perform without something. We actually go in and create the assessment in performance matters. So it's helpful in that respect too, that we can create our own custom-made assessments through it.
Awesome.
And I would address it in two ways. Back to your question, Ms. Crawford. When we had our data chats with the schools last year, where they were pulling their data was from Performance Matters. So I can answer the question that I know the administrators are using the data. How much it's made it into each individual teacher, I can't answer that for you and be honest. Okay. What I can tell you is that's something we will monitor closely, because I know this is an expensive piece for us to have, but I don't believe we can move forward without it because of the program and because of what we're running through it. But I'd be able to answer more of that later.
Mrs. Decabella.
Yes, ma'am.
That's when you had the principals to come in and share that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you all are monitoring the principals, and the principals are monitoring
is
the
correct.
teachers. Okay, I just, when I saw this chunk, and it said general funds, and I knew what we were working
Yes, ma'am.
towards, making sure we had a percentage in there.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm good with
Okay.
it, with us using. I don't know about Nikki yet.
Well, I guess it's just there's a lot of technology, and when we had Alice McGinnis bring us a list when we were doing budget cuts, there was a lot of technology, and we wanted to keep saying, how much is it used? Oh, there was one only used by 5%, so we cut it. And it's hard for, when we have to count every dollar, the usage is always important, because if we're talking about iReady, and that's a $300,000 or $400,000 purchase. I don't think we've approved it yet this year. Again, it's making sure that we're just being very prudent with the technology dollars, and it's of course general fund we always look at. But I did want to say that Performance Matters, iReady, any of our district assessment, there's a lot of technology and there's a lot of assessment. And I did find out that we have Melrose as an A school, but Children's Reading Center uses none of that, not one piece of it. They use no technology. They do it all in-house. They do it all. And I was like, wow. So here we spend over $500,000 on iReady, Performance Matters, and a new one, or Teenology or whatever. And I was like, I know, but they're an A, and they were a C last year, and they've used none. I'm like, is there other ways to do this? And again, iReady has been a big expense. I keep asking why, and where's the data? Where's it? So again, it's just something that I hate to I'm glad you pulled it, because it's a lot of money.
I'm glad you pulled it, because I recently was fortunate enough to have a luncheon with the new director of the Northeast Florida Educational Consortium. and I reported back to Mr. Cernsey, and I look for them to, in the future, start working toward rebuilding a backbone, much like we have with the Florida Reading Initiative, and finding a way to maximize our dollars with their dollars to impact more students.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I know Rick, in his spare time, like he's got any, will get with him, and we've got ideas, or I think the director has ideas of doing like it was done years ago, to where some of these dollars can be utilized and maximized with other districts to be shared, and
Right.
to have trainers there.
Absolutely.
And big training. So I know Rick's working that way, but it's just getting him time to get to it, you know.
Well, we're working closely with them. As a matter of fact, we were on a call with them yesterday, and as much as we can take advantage of their services and kind of help us sustain a lot of the things that we're doing, we're definitely going to take advantage of that.
And he did ask me to convey to the board that he sure would like input anytime you guys feel like going and seeing him and talking to him. He'd like to hear what board members expect from NEFAC as well. So, and particularly since we are the fiscal agent.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's part of the goal, overall goal there, is to minimize the amount of expenditures to where they don't impact we want to impact more students with the money we have, and there is a way to skin that cat. All right.
Right.
Okay, 9.
And
We got
G9?
to
Okay.
approve that one. We need to make a motion to approve that one
Oh,
first.
okay.
But I do want to say the reason I'm not going to vote for that is because there is a lot of assessment and it is a lot of money out of general fund. But I would rather, in the future, if we somehow put all the technology together, I know they're all different times of renewal, but really see the big plan, because again, iReady, Performance Matters, the new technology. I mean, when Alice sent us a list of like 15 or 20 different things being used, it's just, I like to see the usage and how
right,
much
and
it's.
we've never seen a plan.
Right, the technology
Right.
plan, and I know there's other districts that have technology committees that actually look at each individual, because I know it's something that's time consuming, and I know that, it's just something I want to keep on the front burner as far as what's effective and what's not.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Well, we can, in the future, we can come back and try to produce some data to show our return on investment, if you will.
Well,
I mean, I
I've
think
been
that's,
asking for that for 3 years, but,
But you're
we'll
new.
get there.
We'll give you a
I got
chance now.
yeah, this is your first request
It's
to
the
me,
first
right?
time I've asked you.
We'll do our best to come back with that data.
It is important, and also I think that sometimes, and not now, but sometimes, and maybe one hand didn't know what the other was doing, and this school got something really good, and it kind of caught on in 3 other schools, but not all of them, and then the district office came in with something. So that's one of the reasons I kept asking for a list of what we
Yeah,
had.
exactly.
And I don't know that a board-appointed committee is such a bad idea if we're concerned about the probably over $1 million a year we spend on
I agree.
software.
I do know, I know St. Johns County has one, and we could probably model it like theirs. or-
Exactly.
We've had technology committees before, and I think Kathy appointed it years ago, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, that was in the 90s, David.
I know that was in the late 90s or the mid 90s, but I mean, NEFAC
there
turned
was
into our
floppy
our technology beacon, and that's kind of minimized in the last few years. But I think they're
I
offering
agree.
the hand to
I
really
agree,
take
that
this
needs to be
step.
utilized a lot more.
Rick will do it when he gets to it.
Well, the state is asking for more now than they did, back there. And so we have to have some kind of documentation to show at least to that DA team that we are making an effort to meet these requirements.
Well, we
Okay.
do use this in our plan with our area directors. We're holding our principals accountable for their data on an ongoing basis. And we have to have a way we can pull that data up real time and look at, the proficiency
Yes.
percentages and that type of thing. So it is very important in our process that we monitor how schools are doing. So this is very vital that we have this.
Okay.
And where we're messing up is the like you said, the DA team. We've got too many teams. We need to go back to a structure where the consortiums throughout the state of Florida can be the backbone of the instructional, can handle the DA team purposes. And I think with the new governor, there's going to be an opportunity shortly to maybe do that. And that was discussed quite at length, maybe with the Heartland Consortium, the Northeast Florida Consortium, and the Panhandle area, and do it kind of like we did with the Florida Learning Alliance and the Reading Initiative.
Oh, so you have an inside scoop on who the governor is gonna be?
It depends on who.
It sounds like
It sounds like you know something.
It'll be Putnam or Lat Valor. We'll see how it goes, okay?
Okay, are we ready to, motion to approve, G8, performance matters.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Okay,
Okay,
number 9.
let's look at G9.
G9, I read it, and again, it's another program to help us, and I just have a few quick questions. Will it be for every student? Is this adequate? A similar program that's already being used? Success with other districts? Have we looked to see how it worked in some other districts? And it mentioned in the information we got about Putnam being a pilot for the program. So then that takes out number 3. If we're the pilot, then no one else has used it.
I'm going to address
Let
the cost
Julie-
first, and then I'm going to let Julie address it.
$29,000, okay.
She has
Informative email, but I have a
researched
question,
this
too.
extensively. The
And
cost
teacher
is just under.
training before implementation.
Absolutely, I'll let
Yeah,
her address
okay,
that.
all right.
The cost is just under $30,000.
Right.
And if you compare that to if we were to stay with Read 180, we would be looking at $15,000 for every 60 students. So this is a huge cost savings for us, and we do believe, based upon what Julie is going to share with you, that it's going to be something very beneficial to our students and something we believe we're going to see a great return on investment.
Okay, see, I wasn't aware. We're moving Read 180 out, and we're looking at using this. Okay, I didn't have
Before Julie
that
starts,
piece.
let me ask you a question, because
ma'am.
I am under the impression that this has already been purchased, even though we have not approved it. It has not been purchased. It's not in any school. Nobody's using it or looking at it.
Well, they're looking, I mean, we have people looking at it, but it has not been purchased.
And we did have someone here to demonstrate and show us what was available, that type of thing, so that we could see if it was something we believed was going to be beneficial for our students.
good.
But I'm going to let Julie address that.
When we made a decision not to use Read 180 in our high schools for intervention. And so we needed to have an intervention program. And so Laura first told me about this program, and I contacted some counties some people in districts that I knew had already used the program, one of them being Collier County. And I have a lot of respect for their programs there because they do very well. And so I spoke to the director of ELA, and he told me that they were very happy with the product. And so I asked if they would come up and talk to me and share it with me, which they did. And one of the things that attracted me right away, beside the price, which was affordable, was that it embedded professional development. That it's not just about intervening on behalf of students, but it's also an intervention on behalf of teachers. And that teacher PD is embedded throughout the lessons so that you're building the capacity of your teachers. And that's been an area that we've needed to address, especially with our intervention. It's hard to make sure that the people that are teaching the intervention are receiving the professional development that they need. And so that was a real selling point for me. It's standards-based. It's not a computer program at all. There are computer aspects in that there are things that you can assign students to go on. They can do it on the computer, and there's a data gathering tools to make it easy for teachers to pull reports and that kind of thing. But it's kind of like the charter school curriculum in that it's really teacher-based. It's cooperative learning based, and it doesn't water down the standards, which sometimes is a problem in our intervention classes because we end up teaching kids at a much lower level than they're going to be tested on. So this is it's a complex level, but it's very scaffolded instruction so that students can reach it. And it comes in 3 different levels, so the teacher can make the choice based on the students that they have in that class, what level to begin the entry point on.
Okay,
So one quick question, it does say there's, we have to go ahead and sign a 3-year commitment.
No, that, we only have to sign a 1-year commitment. They asked for a 3-year commitment, but they said that they would accept a 1-year, and here's why. We're not in, the study that you spoke of is actually a study that's being conducted by CEC in congruence with REL, which is the Regional Education Lab. And what they're looking at is the question, that would engaging materials motivate adolescent readers, struggling adolescent readers? And so they want us to be a part of that along with Lee and Suwannee County. And they want to collect the data, and actually it's going to help us out because the work that Jonathan Hinkie and his team are doing as far as early warning systems and that kind of thing, they'll work in tandem with him collecting data from teen engagement as well. So because they want us to be a part of that study, they're willing to say, well, we'll just let you sign the contract for 1 year, and then if you guys really like it,
Yeah,
then you
but
can-
we're voting on something, and maybe our attorney, it says 3 years. It's $88,860. So if we say we approve it, we're signing a 3-year agreement.
not a 1 year.
Not a 1 year. So I don't I agree, either the attorney needs
Yeah, you can just make a motion
If
for 1
we
year.
can
to
get
re-
for
to
1 year,
request the,
yes.
yeah, because the document we're looking at is a 3-year. That's all.
Right, right.
So if they'll correct it, that's fine, but it definitely says one source membership requires a 3-year commitment, and it's 88,000, not 29,000.
It's not unusual for people to modify contracts to
Right.
Yeah,
to
so
give
that's
you a
fine.
1 year.
So maybe the
And I
motion
have
can
it in
reflect that.
email, that he's emailed and said that he would, that we
Yeah.
could do a 1-year contract, but.
And is
Sure,
it
that's
just
no
for
problem.
middle and high school?
It is. And actually, it's just for
Jenkins.
8th grade and for 9th through 12th, kids that are in intervention classes. And that's another thing that we needed. We
Jenkins,
really need a
Price,
program
Miller,
for those 10 Rs because we haven't had a lot of success in getting the 10 Rs through the FSA. Well, the way this works is they have one unit that's just on the FSA, and then as soon as they're finished with that, there's another unit on the ACT and SAT, so we can shoot for that concordance score.
Let me
Yes,
ask
ma'am.
you this real quick, Ms. Julie. How many years did we have Read 180?
We still have Read 180, but we haven't, we're still going to have Read 180 at 2 schools, at Jenkins Middle and at Miller Middle.
So Jenkins is going to use both?
Yes, they're
Okay.
going to use
The eighth
Read
grade
180 in 7th, and they're going to use Teen Engagement in 8th.
In
And the
8th
reason
to
we
six.
made that decision was because by the time that 8th grade comes, kids who have been in Read 180 have been in Read 180 for 2 years. At that point, we have to say, well, maybe that treatment isn't effective, and we
Okay,
need a
all right.
different treatment.
Okay.
So we're doing the same thing when they come out of 5th grade. If they've been in iReady all that time, then we're saying, when you go to 6th grade, we want a different treatment than what you were in 5th grade, because, apparently that
So they
treatment
get the
didn't work
Read
for you.
180, then they
Yes,
get
ma'am.
this
But
Teen
only at
Engagement.
2 schools, just Jenkins and Miller have elected to keep in the 7th grade. Well, 6th and 7th at Miller and 7th at Jenkins.
I'm hearing that we are monitoring because you made mention of Read 180 not getting the job done.
Well, I don't want to give that impression because we did look at the return on investment with Read 180, and we actually had a pretty good return on investment with it.
But it's just more expensive? I think
It's the cost, right.
cost.
So,
Okay.
and we might, maybe at the end of this year, if we look at Teen Engagement and say, we didn't get the return on investment that we got with Read 180, then we might decide to go back to Read 180
Making
more.
sure that 1 year commitment.
But right now, Read 180 is very expensive. And also, it's, this model, as I said, has embedded teacher PD. And we're really interested in building the capacity of the people that are teaching the intervention classes. So,
Sounds good.
Anything
I'd
else?
like to make a
Birds with one
motion
stone.
that the board approve the contract with the one change, that instead of a 3-year contract, it's a 1-year contract.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you
Debbie.
all.
Thank you,
You
Julie.
did it.
Thank you, ladies. Emergency, yes.
Okay, I'd like to go out of regular session into emergency
That woke me up.
session. Okay, we have 4 emergency items. The first is the 2018 personnel allocation, change number 4.9, justification, explanation, time sensitive.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the personnel allocation change number 4.9, and because it's time sensitive.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 2, change order number 001, Palatka High School, fascia
I
panels.
like the savings.
Justification, explanation, time sensitive.
So moved.
Second, I'd like to point out that this is a decrease in
Yes.
spending of over
Put that down.
100,000.
You save, and it has to be done.
Did I vote twice?
Yes. Okay.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 3, additional work days, Middleton Bernie Elementary School Food Service Assistant Manager, justification, explanation, time sensitive.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And number 4, out-of-state trip for Interlochen High School FFA to Indianapolis, Indiana. Justification, explanation, time sensitive.
So moved.
Well, okay.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, discussion. I read it, and I know they're going to travel by district vans, et cetera. They will get back with us regarding the motel stay, et cetera. The drivers of the van, do we know that?
It's probably the sponsor.
Yeah.
The sponsor, our ag, is here.
Okay.
She can address it.
Yes, ma'am. You gonna drive all the way?
She could take a
Okay.
load of
Oh,
stuff to my
okay.
daughter.
All right.
I might send some stuff up to my daughter for you.
Charge her, what the plane would charge her for baggage. Just, I was just concerned about those two things. I mean, I'm good with it, but I'm concerned about the sleeping accommodation, motel accommodations, and the driving.
Yes, ma'am. We are going to take it slow on the way up and little stops along the way. And then on the way home, we will also stop. So the actual convention, it's not until October.
Right.
But the convention just opened their window for Florida housing block. So we stay in with the Florida FFA housing.
Oh, okay.
And so what happened is in the past, I guess, different states, I have never been myself, this is a first for me, but different states would reserve several rooms, and then right at the time for cancellation, they would cancel several, and then all these hotels would have all these rooms. So now they've added a cancellation fee from the moment you push the button to say, yes, I'd like to reserve these rooms. And it just opened up. So I was afraid to actually push the button and then be out the money if you guys didn't approve the trip.
I see.
Okay, all right.
So,
Yes. Did you say you have somebody to help you drive?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But I don't know how that works with the actual county van, so she may take her own vehicle.
Okay.
When I had to do it in the past, I know that our insurance covers, but I know you could call the office and look into all that.
Get all that.
Yeah.
I'm still working
Y'all
out all the
have
details.
Well, I think it's a
Deb
wonderful
Shepherd might
opportunity.
be. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for
Thank
taking
you.
those
I
kids. That's
appreciate
going to
it.
be
Yeah,
a nice,
that's-
fun thing for them.
Might
Quite
just
a
be one
trip.
year.
Okay.
What'd she say?
Might just be one
Not
year.
the
Yeah.
first year, it might be
Got
the
a motion and a
last.
second.
Motion approval.
We have a motion on the floor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll go out of emergency session back into regular session. Let me find my paper. Okay, now we're, okay, discussion of unfinished business. I don't know if we have any.
Well, we do have what we took off the table we took out whatever, the insurance and the wellness and all that we talked about during public comment. How do we want to proceed? We need to give some direction as to what's going on.
Well, I like what you said, Kathy, and that, if we can find a way to certainly meet their needs.
It's about halves. If we take that 122 and put it back, that about halves the 480.
If
It'll
you
be like
figure out a
down
way to
to
do
290.
that, and then maybe if you're so inclined, maybe start rolling it back over the next several years, make it, if you have to do that.
Right.
Come up with some.
Right.
And remember, Mrs. Odom said the whole 122 is not there.
Right.
Because we've had to pay someone.
It's real money. I get what Ron was
Okay,
talking about.
she's crunched some numbers.
Do you mind me speaking right now for a
No,
second?
go.
Okay. We have spent 18,775 of that.
How many?
18,000, that was the contract that was approved. So if you divide that, what's left leaves 103,331. If you divided that between 749 retirees, that'd be 137.96. So say roughly $140 per each one.
Okay,
Okay. If we did that, their rate, instead of going, the rates will still be the same. I want to say briefly that we received, when we went out to bid, and I don't know if any of them are still here now, but we did go out for bid because the rates that were presented by our current company were astronomical. 8 options came in. Of those options, 4 of them did not quote us without pulling the retirees aside out of the group. And when that happened, there was always a reduction in the employees' cost and an increase in the retirees. And the other 4 that, combined the two, it was both an increase in retirees and it was going to be a huge increase in the board's cost because the board pays up to $50,000 per employee's rates. So I, calculated all that. And the insurance committee did choose the best option that was presented to us out of the 8. Yes, I understand there was a cost to the retirees, but there was not a cost to the board, and we were trying to save money. It's what we've been trying to do all along. And everybody on the insurance committee was, involved in that and felt that was the best option. I don't know, we'll have to try to work out the logistics of this if we go this route and try to provide that to them. I don't even know whether we would just write a check to the employee. I don't know how we could work it through the other company because they are going in and taking money monthly out of these retirees' checking accounts, or they have set it up through the state of Florida retirement system for the state of Florida to take the money out and then give to, send it on to the company that we hired. So all of that will have to be thought through and worked out too. But if we go with the full amount and we could find the amount we've already spent somewhere else, you're talking about $160 per retiree. If you go with the balance left there, you're talking about $140 per retiree. And the money that was set aside to a savings account, yes, it was put into group insurance, but it was put in there to help offset the cost of employees.
Right.
Something for the employees in the future and
Right.
everything, so.
Could Rhonda come back at the next board meeting and maybe give you a little more
Yes.
clarification? Would that give you a little time for the
It's
next board
gonna
meeting?
take her that long to
Plan?
get her ducks in a row on that. I like that,
I think the only way that would work if we do this money is to personally, through accounts payable, send all those 700 and something people a check, and then you don't know whether they're gonna keep the
Exactly. You
insurance.
need to
Because
wait
a
till the
lot
end
of
of
them
the
have
year.
gone out there and tried to find it on their own, and, they are finding, though, that this is still a good deal. But, we might be paying them for something that they turn around and drop the very
You
next
have
day.
to wait till the end of the year to see.
Well, for those that are still with us, just kind of come back with an idea on what we can do to
Okay.
try to fix it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, new business, discussion, input, and action on transportation to daycare centers within the 2-mile radius. Thomas, would you like to come up?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what's going on.
All right, I came before this board towards the end of last school year and asked that we remove routes to, bus routes to daycares simply because we had a shortage of bus drivers at the time. A couple of things have happened since then. We've decided to, or the board has decided to change the school times for the upcoming school year. And the superintendent has held community meetings to push out information and also listen to concerns from community members and kind of problem solve as we go forward. One of the things that came up repeatedly, especially on both ends of the county, was this would be an easier transition if the daycare routes were still in place for the buses. That was just a major concern, particularly, again, for the Crescent City and Interlochen areas. So The superintendent has listened, and I composed a memo to you guys asking to put those routes back in place for the upcoming school year, essentially. And I'd like to say that I would like for you or I'm requesting that you make the motion based on reinstalling the routes that were there last year, and then we will look at additional routes as we go forward.
Okay.
Because since then, since this word has kind of gotten out, we've had several people who weren't receiving that service last year all of a sudden want that service as well.
Okay,
And
you
we'll-
read my mind.
right,
I
and
was
we'll-
concerned about the gentleman in Crescent City that has
He's
been
at the
before
top,
us
he's at the top,
times.
he's
Yes.
at
I
the
was
top of the
concerned.
list, and he's
Okay.
the one that we're trying, I mean, he was first. And I think we have him taken care of, and then as we go forward, we'll just handle them on an individual basis, and kind of go from there.
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and, well, I voted against it, so I don't know if I can make a motion. I did.
Yeah, you
Something
can. You're
new.
not changing.
But
This
I
is
think we
new.
can
Right.
have the
Okay.
public, can they?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and
So
accept.
you have a member of the.
Oh, well, it was going to include her. Okay. Whenever you get it, you ought to take it. I was just telling you that, but go ahead and talk. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to represent, stepping.
You want to come up to the mic?
10 minutes, we can do it, 10 minutes.
I know that all of our requests have been kind of like frowned upon sometimes, I mean, by you guys, but we have waited like 2 years for this, and it has caused us a lot of hardship financially. We had to get a van and transportation, and upkeep to the van, and it was just, sad that we were denied it, and when we came and asked for help, it was put off and forgotten.
No, it
So,
was never forgotten.
I don't think so.
We've
Well,
been,
Never
we've
forgotten.
been working
My
with
That's
this
why- that's why
seriously.
we're
Yes, we
doing-
couldn't
That's
do
why
it.
because
we
we
listened.
care about the
State road.
kids very much too, and we wanted to be a part of the Crescent City.
And you're not the only one, so we appreciate your concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to continue with my motion that we go ahead and approve what Mr. Boland has suggested, that we return to transporting the daycare, and you let him utilize his discretion on any additional daycares that come to his attention that we could possibly serve.
I'll second.
Oh, okay.
Now you
We
can
have a
discuss
motion
it.
and a second, all in,
And for clarity, we're going back to transporting the same daycares that we did last year.
and add,
And adding, I think,
it's done. Yeah.
Whatever, Mr.
Oh,
Boland.
okay.
Yeah, they're at the top of the list, he
Okay.
said.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Okay, and adding stepping
and
stones.
others down the
Yeah.
road
All
will
right,
be
that's
looked
good.
at.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thanks, Thomas.
Okay, now it's time for board reports. I think I'll start on this side.
Well, good, because I was going to put it under new business, so it's done. I thought we had asked to put on here about making policy,
We did.
but that's okay, because I called FSBA and chatted with Andrea Messina, the director, and explained the concern. And the concern was this insurance thing that went through and kind of slipped by on four of us. And we, I read and, anyway. She suggested that we have a workshop to talk about what it is the board expects to be on a discussion agenda versus, and my thought is that if it affects the employees or retirees financially, it's not on the consent agenda, that's all.
Right.
That would be
Like
my
that.
thing. But she said, in my policy, it's too soon, let's not get adversarial, let's just agree to chat about it at a workshop as to what the board's expectations about the agenda and whatever, the superintendents or whatever. So if we could schedule a workshop, I think that would be good.
Ms. Cormany, is that, how does the board feel?
Does the rest of the board want to do that?
I do.
Yes.
Well, I do
yes.
want to point out, Ms. Cummings asked for a workshop on our top schools. And I was gonna, in my comments, actually, not to cut you off, but I wanted
That's
to
fine.
bring that up. That was an earlier request. If we could put that on our September 5th meeting. I think you originally asked for it sooner, but we're gonna be meeting with our DA team after the 15th, and we wanted to make sure we had all the information.
Okay.
So if we could have that workshop scheduled workshop you're talking,
For the next
either
meeting.
before or after, whenever.
Yeah, if we
Yeah,
have
that's fine,
nothing
as long
on
as
for the
we do
next
it.
meeting.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's do it before we need all those other meeting dates, because once school starts, things
Yeah.
get more.
So do you want to do it at the next
Yes,
meeting?
if we
Yeah,
can,
that'd be
please.
great.
Okay, August 15th, you want it on August 15th?
2:00, is 2:00 good? I don't think
Yeah, I
it's
don't
gonna
think
be
it'll
hours
take-
and hours.
Yeah, no,
It's good.
no,
It'll
we
be
just
brief.
want to talk
2:00, great.
what we want on the agenda, and
Oh,
consent agenda
right,
and.
versus
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah.
Yes.
Was that all you had to say?
No.
Oh, that
One more
wasn't
thing.
even part of your
That wasn't
report,
even
was
really
it?
part of the report. It was supposed to be unfinished. But wait till you hear this story, honestly. When I went to Tallahassee in March for the FSBA thing, I tripped over a hose in the parking lot. And to make up for it, they gave me a free drink coupon. So that night I went down and I got a drink at the bar and I went outside and I met a lady in her 40s from Palm Harbor. She and her husband were at FSU doing a vendor thing. And she and I got yapping, and I told about being on the school board, about Putnam County, about the demographics, about how hard we're trying to make things better. And she said, you know, I have 300 backpacks I don't know what to do with. Do you think you could use them? And I said, yeah. And I forgot about it. I figured, yeah, sure. She emailed me and said, what do you want in them? I'm going to raise money.
Oh, my
300 backpacks being delivered this Sunday, full to Price Middle School. I mean, and it's just, oh, and then I asked a local businessman, would you be willing to buy ID tags? Because the backpacks are going to look the same, and this way the kid could put their name on it, and you could put your business on it. And this person said, yes, but I'm paying you cash, and you're not allowed to tell anybody I did it, and you're not putting my business name on it. You're saying because we care about you. So that's true.
so great.
How he
Worth
works,
your-
it's
You
just
know,
Kathy
wait a
fails
minute.
to amaze
Kathy.
me.
Kathy
I
does.
was with you
Kathy has a heart.
when you fell. I mean, I was there
Well, you
afterwards
were
and
there.
everything.
No,
So
we
look
saw
like
it.
half would go across, you know, in South Putnam, a Central, or something
I'm
like that.
very
Now, come
partial.
on.
And,
There too?
and
Now
I
we
did
roll there. We saw our
the
big
middle
bruise.
school, because mostly they do the elementary schools.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
yep. So that now I'm
That
done.
was so
It's just, I really didn't think it was going to happen. I was like, yeah, this was March. And they're coming Sunday. We'll probably be at Corky Bells in the afternoon.
Awesome.
And her mom they live down by St. Pete, and her mom's and dad are coming from Jacksonville because they bought all stuff a bunch of this stuff for inside.
Get a picture.
Oh, I know, I plan to. I was gonna see if,
that
I
needs
don't
to
know
go
if
in.
anybody's available from the paper on a Sunday, but it sure is a nice human interest story.
really
Yeah, it is.
Good job.
Very nice. And
Thank
we'll say that United Way too will be delivering backpacks to all of the elementary schools on a need basis. So parents, if you don't have the resources, don't stress out. Your kid can still get a backpack. It's something that WHIF, the radio station, and United Way have done
And
together.
every week in the paper, it has been someone
Somebody giving
that's
out
been
school
giving out
supplies.
school supplies. DFW, yes. I see St. Vincent or St. Paul de Vincent.
That's your-
St.
Yeah.
Vincent de Paul, yeah.
They are getting
They're
ready to
doing
give
it.
out. So again, to the parents,
Yeah,
no
use
need
those-
to stress over it. There are places that are giving out supplies for our children.
And you see, I got in an argument with Nikki recently. She said Kathy didn't have a heart, and I said she did.
I did not.
Just kidding.
Okay,
Oh,
I'll
that's
make
great,
my comments
Kathy.
quick. 'Cause
Okay, Nikki.
5:05, we have a budget meeting, so I'm gonna
Today?
just, right now, so I'm gonna pass, so
get out of
we
here.
can, go ahead.
Means you have
I'll
3
pass.
seconds.
I'll pass.
Before I pass, before I pass, oh my God.
Just don't do it in here,
I'll speak if you
Okay.
more. Don't worry.
Hey, and you know. Okay.
I know
All
what to
right.
say, too.
New teachers training. I just want to commend you. I had an opportunity to stop by the training center, and there were about 39 enthusiastic looking,
about fell
people that are ready to teach, and they are excited. And Mrs. Whitehurst was up there giving them, a pep talk and motivating them. And hey,
They got it
with
going
what
on.
we had, yes,
That's
yes,
great.
I was pleased. So I just want to thank you
Good.
publicly, and that's what we need to do. Prepare them for what's to
And I'm
come.
gonna be real quick too. I just want to say, I've been to a few schools over the summer, and I know how hard the principals and the teachers have been working to prepare for the start of the school year. The teachers have been in planning and preparing and trainings and workshops, because I know that every teacher is going to give every child in their class the best that they have. I know that. I mean, I just feel it in my heart. And I'm just so happy for them. I've talked to a lot of kids. Many of them are so excited about starting back to school. I talked to a few high schoolers that weren't, but it is what it is.
That's just the nature of the
But
beast.
they'll be excited once they get there and see all the great things that the principals and the staffs have planned. So, here's to a fabulous school year to every school in Putnam County.
Yes.
In the interest of time, I will pass.
I just have two things to say. First of all, Asia Akins, our reporter,
Yeah,
is
she
now
got a.
employed by the Putnam County School District, so we're very proud of what she's doing.
Miss her.
Scott's filling in today, so you'll be having another person on board pretty soon. So look forward to working with them. And I'm proud to announce Dr. Coleman contacted me yesterday. She's our director of federal programs, and we were just awarded the 21st Century Award
Yeah, good job.
in the amount of $3.3 million.
All right, good job.
That's going to hopefully,
That will help
for at least a
with the
couple of our
after-school stuff. Concern.
elementary schools.
Yes.
We're going to have some after-school activities going on with that, and
Awesome.
plus our high schools and that type of thing.
So wonderful.
Yes.
So
Thank you,
congratulations,
Doc.
and thank you for all the time you put in to make that happen.
I would like to thank her as well, Dr. Coleman, because we don't get that kind of money unless we really need it. And there is a reason for that, and you did a good job putting it together.
Thank you
Dr.
again.
Coleman's brought in not
Yes.
only that, but thousands of dollars in grants this past year. So
Yeah.
commend her for all the hard work she's done.
Yeah. All right. Yes.
Okay,
All right, you ready?
we're adjourned.
And we're open.
Okay, roll call.
Yeah,
District 1,
Here.
District 2. Here. District 3,
Here.
District 4,
Here.
District 5.
Here. And now we have the superintendent's statement.
Okay. In accordance with section 200.065 and chapters 1010 and 1011 Florida statutes, I have submitted the tentative balanced budget for the 2017-18 year, and I recommend the millage to be levied. On July 24th, 2017, you approved the tentative budget and millage for advertising. The purpose of today's public hearing is to approve 2017-18 proposed tentative budget and proposed millage rate, and to set the date, time, and place of the final public hearing on our budget.
Okay, Ms. Odom, with explanation of our rollback rate.
Yes, ma'am. Seems like we were just here, right?
I think we were.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've given everybody the handouts, and as the superintendent said, we are here today to discuss and adopt the tentative millage rates and the tentative budgets for the 2017-2018 school year. The first thing by statute that I have to discuss is the rollback rate. And the rollback rate is the millage rate that it would take to bring into the district the same amount of tax revenue as we received last year, not taking into account any new construction that might have occurred throughout the year. The rollback rate, if you'll look at your handout on rollback rate, I know you've seen this before, but the rollback rate is 6.5795 mils. Our proposed millage for this year of 6.354 mils will bring in only 96.57% of the tax revenue that we received last year. That proposed millage rate for this year is 3.43% less than the rollback rate, and that's why we are just in we had a budget hearing and not a notice of proposed tax increase. If you'll look at page 2 of the millage handout, you'll note that our millage rate is decreasing by 0.446 mils, almost a half a mil, from last year's 6.8 mils to 6.354. This decrease is attributable to the decrease in our required local effort. Each school board that participates in the Florida Education Finance Program and gets the state allocation of funds for the current operation of schools must levy the millage set for its required local effort from property taxes. The legislature sets that rate and each district's share of the state's total required local effort is determined by a statutory procedure that is initiated once certification of the property tax valuations are done by the Department of Revenue. The only way that we as a district can levy more for operating or capital purposes is to go before the public in a general election and ask to increase our millage rate. If you look at page 3 of that same handout, as I mentioned before, if everything else remaining the same, if a property owner's appraised value of their property is the same as last year, I've got different categories, but let's take mid-range. A person who has an appraised value of property at $100,000 would see a decrease in their school taxes owed of $33.45. Their overall taxes might go up as a whole, but that would be because other taxing authorities might be increasing their millage. But due to the school district, they will see a decrease of $33.45 that they would be providing to us. Now, moving forward, I've given you some informational documents just so that you can keep up with the way things are going. The first one is a comparison of property tax values, millage, and revenue. You'll see a decline in Putnam's property tax base and decline in millage rates and revenue generated from 2009-10 to current date. Our property base has declined from $4.2 billion in 2009-10 to $3.8 billion currently. You will notice that, last year it increased some, the year before a little bit, but we're still down from 2009-2010. Our millage rate has declined by 1.459 mills. That's unbelievable in that same period of time. So our decline in property tax revenue is almost $8 million.
$8 million.
The next handout is entitled Analysis of General Fund Collected Property Taxes. We are required to budget at a 96% collection rate, and we do so. We had always collected well over our budgeted rate, which over the years at year end usually brought in an additional about $200,000 over what we had budgeted, so it always helped our year end fund balance. Last year, if you'll recall, we only collected 94.94% of that 96%. So we were down over $200,000 over what we had budgeted. I'm happy to say this year that did not develop into a new trend, and after receiving the delinquent tax distribution and distribution number 12 from the sales tax revenue certificate sales, we collected just over the 96% collection rate. So we received $27,618 more than we had budgeted to receive.
All right.
So hope that was one trend that
that's a
only
good thing.
lasted 1 year. The next is analysis of the capital dollars decline. And you can see that the decline from 2007-8 through current year. In the current budget year, the tax base went up slightly, as I mentioned earlier. So we are projected at more capital millage dollars of 1.5 mils by about a little over 200,000 than we got in prior years. We're collecting PICO special maintenance funds, and the projection also shows a slight increase for this year from 505,232 last year to 507,616. So not taking into account the First Coast VOTEC funds that were a 2-year, Putnam has seen a decline in capital funds of $4 million for the year compared to the amounts received in 2007-2008. So it's not just our general fund, it's our capital funds also. The next handout is a notice of tax for schools capital outlay. Y'all approved this for advertising in the paper. We're required to advertise how we plan to spend that 1.5 mils. We don't have to spend on everything that we put on the list. However, we're not allowed to spend on anything that's not included. We would have to have another public hearing if we decided at a later date we want to use these funds for another source. Trim guidelines specify the categories and language that can appear in this advertisement, and this year, as I mentioned before, the notice also includes this whole section on charter schools allowed use of capital outlay funding, since they will now receive a portion of our 1.5 mils based on their FTE. The next is just a quick little handout.
They don't even have to. They don't have to lobby the public to levy millage or any. I don't know.
No, and it's a hard sell and it's a hard understanding because it is public funds and it's going to for-profit entities. But we've all voiced those concerns. It was passed. So.
I know.
The next handout is the capital projects millage budget. I just wanted you to see what that 1.5 mil that brings in $5.4 million to the county, how we plan to expend it. We use it to fund the maintenance department, $3,300,000. We continue to give the schools $400,000 to buy capital outlay or remodeling, renovation, anything that they might need, and theirs is based on square footage of their building and age of their building. We are provided flexibility to pay for a portion of our property insurance, and we also have the current year portion of the master purchase agreement on buses. Then we are now, for this year, having to provide a portion to the charter schools, so that leaves us with a balance of $648,136.06 that can be used for other district maintenance construction needs that John's department can't take care of on their own. So not a whole lot of funds left. The next handout is what you saw in the paper, the budget summary, district summary budget. You'll see this is a one-page compression of our budget summarized by fund type, revenue source, and expenditure function. The detailed budget, I know Andrea brought down. I'm not sure if she gave it to Sharon or put it in y'all's room out there, but we did a notebook that is probably about this thick that lays everything out by function level, cost center, and everything. That's also something that if you want it, I can email it to you. I can provide everybody hard copies, or it can be in that room for you to look at it anytime. Or
It's back there.
Is it back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will you
Thank
email it to us also, please?
I'll be happy to.
Too many pages for me to
Do you have to scan every document in?
No, I'll just scan
No,
it
it's
as
a-
one package and
Yeah,
send it.
no,
And
no.
it'll be general fund revenue, general fund expenditure, debt revenue, debt expenditure, capital revenue,
Okay. I
down
would
like
hate
that.
for that to be off.
Again, as before, from this handout, I want to call your attention to a couple of things, and it's the fund balance that we discussed before. You'll see that our July 1st beginning fund balance is $6,508,458.47. And from this next handout that you're currently looking at, the explanation of the fund balance, you'll see that that's broken down into a reserve for project balances, reserve for encumbrances, reserve for inventory, the 3% mandated unreserved fund balance, and that is 3% of recurring revenues is what's required by statute, and the unreserved cash fund balance, that was the rollback to the pot after all revenues received and budgets closed out of $1.5 million. That comprised the overall ending fund balance June 30th, which became the beginning fund balance of July 1, $6,508,458.47. I am projecting the ending fund balance on June 30th, 2018 to be $4,568,182.90. As you note, that's a lot smaller than the beginning fund balance. We're no longer spending more than our recurring revenues, but carryover project balances and carryover encumbrances are not in these figures because we're making the assumption that we will spend out those projects and that we will also receive and pay for the goods and services that were encumbered as of June 30th. So the projected June 30th is broken down into inventory, the different reserves that we discussed, the audit paybacks for the best and brightest finding, the reserve for McKay scholarships, the FTE audit adjustment. That's when they come in and examine our FEFP and be sure, teachers are certified, IEPs are done, bus ridership is correct and everything. Then I set aside a couple of reserves in case our FTE is lower than projected, and in case, as the state goes throughout the year, they have a possible proration of funds, which we've seen over and over in the last few years. I've got our mandated 3% unreserved fund balance, and it's a different amount than the one prior year because the revenues are different. It's always based on 3% of recurring revenues. And I've got the unreserved fund balance of $777,000 for the total of $4,568,182.90.
Excuse me, Rhonda, I just want to say, I want to commend the superintendent and his Department of Finance and the board for bringing that unreserved fund balance up from $5,200 to $777,000. That was no easy task.
It was way overdue.
It always is painful. It was painful for every one of us.
Way overdue.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. Thank you. I mean,
hope to
thank you to everybody. I feel much better.
Well, there was a lot of
Continue to increase that.
decisions made in
Yes.
the last couple of months to make that happen.
Well, the best thing that Rick and his staff were able to do to assist the board was to not have a massive RIF, a reduction in force. That's the right way to do it, and you did it the right way, and we were overhired for what we had in front of us, so.
I think our schools are in a good position to educate kids, and they have the right people in place, and very confident about this year.
Yes, sir.
good
Me too.
tools.
I feel really good about it.
Yep.
And before we go to the roll call vote, there is one more handout that says how much is our budget. This too is just informational. Tony did it for years, I continued it. And it takes our total proposed budget by funds, and I subtract out items that, in essence, may be double counted. For one, if you'll look at the capital project funds, we have expenditures as a transfer out to the general fund of that 3 million. And so then in the general fund, we get that 3.3 million in as a revenue, so it's double counted, so that's pulled out. Group health insurance, we've just been talking about insurance. So health insurance as expenditure shows up in every fund that we have that pays people, and then it's brought in it's charged as expenditure there, but then it's brought into the group insurance fund as a revenue source, and then we turn around and pay the premiums. So to me, that's a double counting also. I also pull out beginning NEFAC grants, because one, the funding belongs to NEFAC and we're just their fiscal agent. And then finally, I pull out carryover fund balances because they were counted, in last year's overall budget. It was just money left over. That way you can truly determine what this year's district budget is for recurring revenues. So, it's just, like I said, informational purposes. Read it at your convenience. And I guess before we go to
leisure.
at your pleasure. So before we go to the roll call vote, I wanted to see if there's any questions for me on any of these items, any of the information I provided for you today. And if not, we will.
Rhonda, the only question I've got is the state does the capital outlay, your proportion of what we get, and PICO goes to charter schools. How do they determine what percentage goes with charter schools, based on student population?
For the special maintenance, it's based on student population, capital outlay student population. That's it's calculated differently based on student seats and capacity and everything, but it's very close to the same as our FTE. Capital outlay FTEs usually runs about 700 or 800 students below what the overall district, because it doesn't take into account virtual classes and things like that. So it reduces our overall enrollment down some, and then it's based off that lower enrollment. But yes, they get a share based on that.
You could take 500 students out of Palaca High, and it's still going to cost the same, as much to refurbish the bathrooms as it was. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know.
And with the new amount that they're getting from 1.5 mil, I've calculated it based on their projected FTE and divided by our overall FTE, but DOE is going to do the calculation and let us know by February what the true amount is, and that's what we have to pay out. I'm sure it's going to be close to what I've estimated.
Dave, let me point out, I just want to say this out loud, that there are a number of districts in the state, large districts, who are litigating about that.
Yeah.
And I've checked with our NEFAC districts, and most of our small districts are not participating in that because the large districts are paying millions and millions of dollars.
And they will get you back when you do that too.
Right. So it would be a cost to us to get involved with that. So we're just want to let you know our decision is to lay low.
Well, what's going to that takes away all local control from a board, and I can get doing some of the paperwork for a charter school, but not to take away the capital outlay money. I mean, all they're doing is cutting our funding, and then we're going to have to, at some point in the next few years, research a bond issue or something to try to take over. I don't know. But anyway, that's down the road. We won't worry about it today. I'm done.
Thank you. Okay, are there any public comments or questions? Okay, so we will start on the adoption of tentative budgets for the 2017-2018 school year.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the
Second.
tentative required local effort millage rate of 4.106 mils.
And it's been seconded.
Second.
All in
Okay,
favor?
same.
No,
we
it's
need
gotta
to
be
go
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh,
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative discretionary millage rate of .748 mils.
District 1,
Yes.
oh wait, I'm sorry, there's a second?
Ms. Gilliard second.
Second.
No, I didn't.
I second the motion. It's all good.
Yeah, he did it.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative capital outlay millage rate of 1.50 mils.
Second.
Nikki second.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative total millage rate of 6.354 mils, which is 3.43% below the rollback rate.
Second.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative general fund budget of $92,051,441.77.
Yeah. Yeah. Second.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative debt service funds budget of $197,667.93.
Second.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative capital projects funds budget of $8,226,684.75.
Second.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative special revenue funds budget of $15,818,804.74.
Second.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative internal service funds budget of $27,278,306.49.
Second.
District
Oh,
1.
Yes.
Okay.
District 1.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative trust and agency funds budget of $131,301.82.
Second.
District 1.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the tentative enterprise funds budget of $30,861,132.51.
Second.
District 1.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. I make a motion, we approve the total district tentative budget in its entirety of $174,565,340.01.
Second.
District 1.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes. Madam Chair, now I'd like to make a motion that we advise the property appraiser that Tuesday, September 5th, 2017, at 5:05 PM in the school board meeting room here at 200 Reed Street in Palaca, Florida, a public hearing will be held to consider the final millage rate and the final budget.
Second.
District 1.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
The meeting is adjourned.